An Israeli official was caught spreading disinformation about civilian casualties in Gaza. So now, the BBC fact-checked a recent social media post made by Ophir Gendelman. So BBC Verify checked a claim from this spokesperson for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, which alleges that Gazans were not actually Gazan civilians, were not dying, and that Hamas was actually using crisis actors in order to claim civilian casualties. Wow. So if it sounds like Alex Jones level stuff, yeah, that's kind of what it reminded me of. So now apparently Gendelman, I don't know, for some reason wants to say that, oh no, see, civilian casualties not actually happening. They're just faking it. So that, you know, we could fool the international media into what? Feeling empathy for innocent Palestinian civilians being bombed? Again, we're not talking about Hamas here. We're talking about innocent civilians living in Palestine. I mean, that's pretty clear, right? But I guess, you know, when it comes to empathy,
can't let that happen.
Yeah. So now, Gendelman tweeted on Thursday, "See for yourselves how they fake injuries in evacuating injured civilians all in front of their cameras. Pallywood gets busted again." So now wait a minute. Pallywood? What's this Pallywood going on? Apparently, there are Israeli officials claiming this kind of stuff is happening and that it's all part of this Pallywood, standing for Palestinian, you know, Hollywood or whatever. That oh no, they're just staging these fake civilians that are being injured or killed or whatever, just off with the cameras. I mean, that's super bizarre. Now, in the post, Gendelman attached a video where a young girl could be seen being made up with fake blood as part of a film set before emergency workers come in. So now, he uses this as proof, right? But where does the video come from? It's actually from a movie that illustrates what it's like living in Palestine, according to the people who are literally in the movie. In fact, according to the journalist in the BBC's disinformation unit, I'm going to show you this image here, his post. "The Israeli Prime Minister spokesperson to the Arab world falsely claims that this video shows Palestinian civilians fake injuries used in the term Pallywood. It's behind-the-scenes footage from a Lebanese short film about Palestinians called The Reality, as stated by the film's director." Yeah. Film director Mahmoud Razmi posted the behind-the-scenes clips later used by Gendelman on his Instagram story. The BBC journalist went on to report that both the director, Ramzi, and the child actor, Rami Jardali, posted rebuttals to the false claims being made about them and the short film on Instagram. So what you have here is high-ranking right-wing Israeli government officials spreading fake videos around in order to claim, crisis actors. Wait, hold on. Palestinian officials have noted that 10,569 civilians have been killed in Gaza, 40% of them children. So now, look, if you're claiming that, oh, see, no, the videos, the heartbreaking videos that you're seeing online, that's just Hamas propaganda. It's not fake. It's not real. It's fake. It's not happening. You know. Now that would also contradict the claims of Hamas using human shields, doesn't it? I mean, either Hamas is using human shields, or it's all fake. Those are the two different arguments coming from the Israeli government. Can't be both. Can't have both. All right. Now, it can be true that the indiscriminate bombing of the area in Gaza, which is a very small area, very densely packed, 2.3 million people in a very small area, okay, that are getting bombed, that bombing is killing civilians, yes, that can be true. And it can be true that Hamas is operating in civilian areas and using essentially people as human shields. That can be true. Both things can be true. And that combined, they are creating a horrendous death toll of innocent civilians. Look, what I can see here is Netanyahu's spokesperson doesn't exactly seem to be a very trustworthy source on this issue, all right? Considering he's been caught pulsing multiple fake videos for years. During the weekend, he posted a must-watch video of IDF attack dogs chasing Hamas in tunnels under Gaza. However, the video is actually just training footage. So this is what it would look like chasing Hamas in tunnels, but it's not actually, it's just training footage. Oh, and going back in May of 2021, when Israel launched operations in Gaza, Gendelman also shared a video from Syria in 2018 claiming falsely that it depicted Palestinians in Gaza launching rockets from a civilian area. I'm not saying that that can't happen, but the video that he used was obviously false. And so he was disseminating disinformation. And so to me, look, I understand that governments put out propaganda. Our government, the United States government, puts out pro-war propaganda that makes them look better. All governments do it. And so it's not a surprise that the Israeli government is doing the same thing. It actually doesn't make them any different than any other government that has ever waged war. They all do propaganda, of course. And so in this case, the guy is a spokesperson for Netanyahu, so he's a government propagandist. From a government that currently wants to get away with engaging in war crimes, because that's what they're doing. Look, at the end of the day, again, all these governments, they do propaganda to help them. Of course, Hamas has their own propaganda. Israel has their propaganda. The United States has their propaganda. Everybody's got propaganda, okay? It's really difficult to see, you know, through all of the false claims, especially when you don't have independent journalists that are allowed to operate there in that area. And so that's pretty difficult to get, you know, reliable information out of there. But obviously, what you're seeing here from this guy, not at all accurate information. But at the end of the day, look, there needs to be a ceasefire, okay? This has to end. There's got to be diplomacy, serious diplomacy. The United States, we need to put pressure on Israel. Now, are we going to do that? No, unfortunately. Biden says, nope, we're not going to do, we're not going to push for a ceasefire at all. Why not? It needs to happen. Look, the only way we're going to actually put an end to the violence is to first put an end to the violence, to stop bombing. That would be a great start. Stop bombing, start diplomacy. We really need to get an area set up for the Palestinian people that is protected, that has self-determination and freedom. We claim that we want that in the area, and yet in one place that really could use some freedom right now, they don't get it. Instead, they live in an open-air prison that is constantly being bombed. And so that has to change. If you really want any sort of peace and coexistence between the Israeli state and Palestinians, that has to happen. And the first step is to end the bombing.